Anatole and the cat. In old France, there was no mouse more honored and respected than Anatole. He was very proud of his job as a cheese taster at the factory of Monsieur Duval. Nobody knew that he was not a man but a mouse, not even Monsieur Duval, for he did the work after the others went home. Always his dear wife, Duquette, blew him a kiss, and then left the mouse village and bicycled off to Paris on business. After that, 6 charming children were sound asleep. From the left is Paul, Paulette, George, Georgette, Clouette. One night, Anatole entered a cheese tasting with Gaston, his good friend and helper. Anatole tasted some riches and made a face. Too salty, give me a not so good sign, and I'll write it down. And then he heard a soft footstep on the floor above. They began to shiver and shake and quiver and quake. "It is a cat!" cried Anatole. "Still, we must do our job. As long as he stays upstairs, we work. As soon as he starts downstairs, out the window we go." They did their best, but they were too frightened. Gaston kept dropping signs on the floor, and Anatole scribbled just anything that came in their head. "Alas, I fear I have made some serious mistakes," he said. "But it's all the fault of that awful animal. To be a cat is to be a monster and a menace." Then they ran out of the window. The cat was on the stairs. They climbed down the big curvy. The bicycle home over a mile a minute. The night millions of cats marched down through Anatole's street, shouting, "Down with Anatole! Down with Anatole!" At dawn, the sky turned pale pink. He left his bed as miserable as a mouse could be. At breakfast, we could scarcely swallow his food. The children were upset to see him looking so sad. "What is worrying our dearest papa?" they asked anxiously. But Anatole felt they were still too young to learn about cats, and he hurried off them to school. Then he hung his head in the deepest despair. Duquette, there was a you-know-who-what at the factory. She turned pale. "Voilà, what will you do?" "It is with such pride that I earn my family with bread and cheese, instead of stopping to take people's grape. Must I change my horrible way to life because of this beast?" But Duquette, no cat had appeared there before. "Perhaps this one came out of curiosity and will never return." Anatole hugged her. "You gave me a new hope, ma petite. How would I manage without such a jewel of a wife?" And he ate his breakfast, for now he had appetites. At that very moment, the factory was hullabaloo. The cheese workers were quarreling like cats and dogs. Half of them shouted they must do what the sign said. The other half screamed that the sign was full of mistakes. They sent Monsieur Duval, the president of the factory. He came at once with a large cat perched upon his shoulder. "Read the lady," he shouted, pointing at the signs. Monsieur Duval scratched his head, greatly puzzled. "Extra special good. Let's look at them so we can oh my god. 1. extra good is 1, 2. The specially good is 1. And good is 2. No, not so good is 1, 2. And special good is 1. And no good is 2. Anatole. When Anatole tooted his horn for Gaston that night, his friend appeared in the window holding a little bell. I am a mouse of caution. I do not wishes to live dangerously. You must work alone at the factory after this. Mouse is a monster. Oh, not for me. You think that of course if you care about the cat. Make no jokes about the serious matter. Au revoir. Squeezing under the factory door, Anatole listened to a cat sound, but happily there was none. The tasting room, he found a short memo at the Monsieur Duval, asking him whether he felt quite ready, and begged him for a holiday if he needed one. He went Monsieur Duval's office and taped a memo in reply. Inter-office memo from Anatole to Henry Duval about cats. There are some who like dogs or goldfish or packets. Myself, I do not care for cats. Last night, one of these creatures was in your factory. I was so disturbed that my work are not good and usual. If a cat again is bred, I may be forced to give up my job, much as I enjoy working with you. Then he left the typewriter. Now we shall see who shall see. The next day there was a second memo from Monsieur Duval in reply of the memo from Anatole. At first Anatole rejoiced. My worries are at the end. But then he has to say, is the cat to be trusted? And the answer was no. Our family, my pet is a cat who accompanied me to work each day in my limousine, returning home with me at closing time. Now I know where he was the other night. I have scolded him, and he was instructed ordered not to remain in the factory after dark. I hope that henceforth you'll be able to work in peace. Your expert judgment in cheese have made my success possible. Merci beaucoup. At home, he sat silent, staring at the scenting rain. At home, he sat silent, staring at the slanting rain. Remember Gaston's joke and a tale know the word. Long, long ago, many mice have met to decide that they do about a cat. Someone had the idea of putting a bell around his neck. This would warn them of its coming, and all were pleased, until a wise old mouse said, "But who will bell the cat?" Not one mouse had dared to do it, then or ever. Like, oh my God, never. And there must be a way, said Anatole, pacing up and down. For hours and hours his brain was busy with ideas. Then they all seemed too dangerous until he suddenly remembered the big empty crate at the storage room at the factory. Then Anatole smiled, for now he had a perfect plan. Before leaving, he asked Duguette for a sash. She was worried. Has it anything to do with the cat, Gussie? Be careful. Not all the cheese and fangs could replace you. Anatole kissed her goodbye, telling her nothing. He stopped at the gas stand and asked for Do not risk your life, I beg you. And Anatole began to string the sashes around the top of the bed. The brute will be there tonight. I feel it in my bones. On the way to work, Anatole entered a pet shop, took a box of catnip, and leaving some camembert cheese for the payment. And then he went to the hardware store and took the door latch, leaving some red cubed cheese in the payment. Arrived in the factory, he taped a memo to Monsieur Duval's office. He hurried to the storage room. He wanted to try the door of the crate. It swung to the real easy. Then he hammered the hatch into place. Well, then he put the catnip in the crate at the far end. Voila! If a man may build a mouse trap, then a mouse may build a cat trap. He hid himself and waited. Soon the sharp ear heard sounds. Was it a cat or his thumping of his own heart? It was a cat! Smelling the catnip, he bounded into the crate. Quick as a wink, Anatole slammed the door, scurried and latched on the latch, scurried down. The angry cat tried and tried, but the door would not open. How dare you trap me? My name is Charlemagne, and I'm from a long line of illustrious cats. My great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather was a pet of the Empire's Charlemagne himself. Let me out! Anatole spoke softly. My dear Charlemagne, what about the catnip? I'll gobble it up. And then beware, you little nobody of a mouse. When the catnip was gone, Charlemagne completely forgot about Anatole. He grinned and began to do all sorts of silly things, chasing his tail, turning somersaults. Anatole waited impatiently, not a bit surprised. He knew catnip did this to the cats. At last Charlemagne grew tired and stretched out and slept. Now or never, said Anatole. A sleeping cat cannot pounce. The cat's loud snort was there like a rumble of thunder, but the brave little mouse did what had to be done. Even trying a big bow that she saw on the sash was too long. Then he taped the memo in the crate and went upstairs to celebrate. He fixed himself with a special treat, a triple-decker sandwich with the 6 different kinds of cheese. Inter-office memo from Anatole to Harry Duval. I have about your disappointing cat. Thus, I can stop working at a minute notice and go home without coming face to face with the beast I dissent. Naturally, the more often the cat comes, the less time I can give my duty as the first vice president in the charge of the cheese testing. As a businessman, you should understand why this is wise to watch your cat. Upon hearing the news, guests then gladly returned to work. Sometimes there was a bother by the tinkling of the bell, but Monsieur Duval kept close watch on Charlemagne, and that happened only once in a while. When it did, the 2 friends dashed madly for the window and climbed down as fast as their legs would let them. One Friday night, Anatole took his family to see the factory. Bicycle along the boulevard towards Paris. The children said, Papa, did you think we're too young to be told about cats? Our teacher taught us all about them. There was a night the wonderful letter was waiting. Duval Limaners for Dumondi. My dear Anatole, because of the last month's mistake, the people in France all have stomachaches. They demand that I go out of business, but I beg for another chance. Since then your work has been no good, that they have all taken the Duval cheese back to their hearts. or should I say to their stomachs. And now, my dear Vice President, I have a surprise. On the night of mistake, one sign said odd chopped cucumber seed. This cucumber cheese is so tasty that it had become the people's favorite. Congratulations. In the honor, I have named it Cheese Anatole, your friend. P.S. Bowing the cat was an excellent idea. By Henry Duval. Ducky Ed was so pleased that she wept for joy. Paul and Paulette, Cled and Clednat, and George and Georgette all exclaimed proudly, "Our papa is so clever that a cheese has been named after him." And Gaston declared, "I said it before, and I said it once more. He is a most magnificent vive of Anatole." So Anatole again became the most honored, respected mouse in all Paris. Then he was also the bravest, become of the thousands of years to a mice who spelling the cat, but Anatole was the only one who did it. The end. If you like the story, please subscribe.